All right, people, good afternoon. What is going on? I'll tell you what's going on. We've got some Seattle Seahawks news. I would call it mostly good, at least. At the very least, it's encouraging. So let's go ahead and run through it here. Of course, this is something that we might expand on a little bit when we get the injury report in a few hours. But before we get that, one thing that I can say about the Seattle Seahawks injury situation is that it's at least headed in the right direction. So, per Dugar here on X, the Seahawks have designated Jalen Sundell. Somebody told me it's Sundell, so we're going to go with that, and tight end Eric Saubert to return to practice. Now, once again, and we've dealt with this many times this year, returning to practice does not mean you are ready to return to an actual football game, but it is definitely part of the process and indicates that things are getting better. All right, guys, let's take a minute so I can tell you guys about Sleeper. I'll tell you a little secret as well. It's more than just a platform for fantasy leagues. This year, millions of users have enjoyed playing fantasy sports on Sleeper, but there's so much more to it. You have live stats, real-time updates of all stats. You have a news feed with lightning-fast updates on players and teams, and a real-time chat where you can engage with other users about plays, performances, games, all kinds of stuff during the sports season. So download Sleeper, experience it for yourself, and don't forget to use my promo code SBN to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit, and pair that with their new promo that will give you a free $20 entry, no deposit needed. So you can use both of those promos. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and going. So check out Sleeper today and use those promos. So obviously Jalen Sundell was starting before he got hurt, so that could be a very significant occurrence. Keep in mind that Jalen Sundell was starting at center, and it does seem like that's where Seattle views him as being the best fit. So you are probably looking at a situation where he would replace Oluwatimi. However, there is also some discussion of him maybe playing right guard, replacing Anthony Bradford, although I'll say it again. It seems like the team likes Bradford fine. It seems like the team is good with Bradford, and I'm not getting the indication they're looking to replace him at this moment. So I think center is far more likely. And look, Sundell, and Oluwatimi have strengths and weaknesses, but I get the sense that the team prefers Sundell. And while Saubert is a third string tight end, his return is needed. And the main reason why it is needed is that as of right now, Elijah Arroyo is out with a knee injury he sustained against the Falcons. And when McDonald was asked about him, he was described as day to day. Doesn't seem like he's going to go to injured reserve based on that, but there's a good chance that Arroyo does not play at the very least this week. And whatever you think of Elijah Arroyo, he was tight end too. And with him out and Saubert out, it's going to be AJ Barner and then Nick Collar up and Brady Russell. So you're really thin at a position where the team likes to get players on the field. Whatever little you might think of guys like Arroyo or Saubert, the team wants to have multiple tight ends on the field a lot. So very impactful that we get him back, and hopefully we get him back ASAP. As for whether or not that's likely, Brady Henderson. Brady Henderson had this to say. McDonald has commented that they hope that Sundell and Saubert can play versus Indianapolis, but he's not willing to guarantee anything yet. So that's pretty encouraging, I would say. That's at the very least optimistic, and it seems like this has a good chance of working out. I mean, keep in mind here with Sundell, obviously we can survive a week with Oluwatimi. Oluwatimi's not playing terrible. I would argue he's not playing good, and Sundell overall is better, even if Oluwatimi's bringing other things to the table in some areas that are a little better. But I don't really want to throw Sundell into a game against the Rams after missing an extensive period of time, and he's just like tossed right into the deep end. I would, at the very least, Like to see Sundell get some snaps this weekend, and then hopefully be able to play the whole game against the Rams. Kind of like what we did with Julian Love last week, where he played about a third of the game, maybe a little bit more, and we eased him back in, and now he can kind of slowly acclimate himself to football. So that is what we are looking at right now. Good news. We'll see how much these guys practice when the practice report comes out later today. So keep an eye out on that. But as of right now, what I can say is that he is designated to return to practice, which is pretty big news. Now, there's one other thing going on in the Seahawks building right now. Kenny Polamalu, the running back coach, been the running back coach here for a few years now. He is taking a leave of absence from the Seattle Seahawks. They did not say why. They said it's personal, and they indicated that he will not return for the rest of the season. So, can't really speak too much to the details here. All we know is that Polamalu is going to be out of the building, and according to McDonald, he will not return this year. So, who knows? And at the end of the day, it's not really any of our concern why. The only thing that we need to know is he's not going to be there. And I would say that Kenny Polamalu has done a pretty good job here in Seattle as the running back coach. We don't have the greatest running backs in the world, but we've got good ones, and we've had good ones since he got here. So I like him. I feel like he's doing his job. I don't know what his absence will do, if anything. Apparently, Justin Outen, I think I remember him on the Broncos coaching staff a few years ago, run game specialist and assistant offensive line coach. He will step up to perform running back coach duties, and we've also got Michael Byrne, offensive assistant, doing some running back coach stuff. And yeah, here's Brady Henderson, by the way, following up. Polamalu is expected to remain on leave for the rest of the season. So, in so much as that can affect us, and I don't think it can affect us that much, it's interesting for sure, because this is a very good team, and it looks like they're poised to maybe go on a deep run, and whatever happened must have been relatively serious for him to leave. Okay, so that's basically most of the Seahawks news. There's one other thing from Dugar here. According to Mike McDonald, when he gave his press conference earlier today, they expect Phillip Rivers to play on Sunday. That is their anticipation. They believe that of the three options, Riley Leonard, Brett Rippon, and Phillip Rivers, it's probably going to be Phillip Rivers. So, look, they got to prepare for all three, which is in and of itself a challenge, but they seem to believe this is actually happening. And I got to say, it sounds like a lot of fun. I hope it happens. And, I mean, obviously, I hope that we do well, but I also hope that Rivers doesn't go out there and completely embarrass himself or get injured or something like that. I hope he actually plays, because kind of fun, right? Kind of fun. And certainly more fun than Riley Leonard or Brett Rippon. All right, so by the way, for whatever it's worth, if you look at the Colts side of things from like Steichen actually seems very optimistic about Rivers being ready to play. Apparently, he was already working with the Colts coaching staff on offensive game plan stuff, because the offense that he coaches in high school football runs the same offense as the Colts. So he was already kind of in communication with Colts coaches, and therefore he kind of knows the offense. So he's got that going for him, I guess. All right, I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. More videos coming soon.